At ease, brothers. Man, I want to talk about something that I know will assist you in getting to your end goal. Because this is what I know for a fact, man. I know a lot of times we'll set intentions, we'll make goals, we'll make things that we want to achieve, and we'll get some ground, but then we'll find ourselves just hitting this ceiling, hitting this, stuck on this plateau. Saying, you know what, I understand how to get to the end goal, but for some reason I'm caught up, here in the middle. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. It was something that I learned later. At some point, you have to ditch the rituals, man, and simply just start doing the work. Simply start doing the work. A lot of people get caught up in the rituals. I used to be one of them. And this is the thing, man, because I don't want to get it twisted. Like, I'm always pushing rituals. I'm always, well, not as much as I normally do, but I push rituals heavy. Primarily meditation. Because I'm not saying that these things aren't important. They're actually crucial. Meditation is crucial. Because meditation is where the higher and lower mind come together. You know what I'm saying? That's where you find self. So I'm not saying it's not important. Meditation is where a man's heaven and earth are agreed upon in order for him to bring it into fruition. So I'm not saying it's not important, but a lot of people get stuck in this realm. A lot of people get stuck on this level. And there's several other rituals. You got meditation, you got prayer beads, you have chants, you have all kind of things that people use as rituals, which are beautiful things. But I'm learning later in life, man, that these rituals are being misunderstood. They're being misunderstood, and it's actually taking us from the highest order of being. Sometimes these rituals are robbing us of the highest level of being. So you have to understand, man, that when we talk about rituals, we have to understand that a ritual should either be used as a gateway or used as maintenance. This is what the rituals are for. And when I say a gateway, meaning your rituals are actually a vessel taking you from A to B. In other words, when a person says, you know what, man, this is my life. These are my habits. These are the results I'm getting. I'm unsatisfied with my life in whatever sector it is. Like, I'm trying to get from here to this life, my end goal. So let me start generating an energy. Let me start creating a world. Let me start agreeing with my heaven and earth. Let me get everything on one accord. Meditation is crucial, if not mandatory, to do this. So that's what I'm saying. It's a vessel to get your state of being from A to B. That's all it's doing, is really creating your state of being. So it's either a gateway or maintenance, meaning once you get to this end goal and now you're living in this energy and now is your life, it's used as maintenance, meaning, okay, now like, whether it's however frequent it needs to be, let me use this ritual. Let me use this tool to make sure everything is still calibrated, to make sure my compass is still pointing in the right direction. It's no different than having a vehicle. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wakes up every single morning and takes their vehicle down to Mercedes or down to Toyota or down to Chevrolet saying, hey, you know what? See you tomorrow. I'm here again. Like, is everything good? No, because the ideal, of having a vehicle is to have that thing working all the time, not sitting there taking it to the shop. So what I'm saying is it's either a gateway or maintenance. But it's not the end all. Waking up doing your rituals, man, is not the end all, right? The highest order of being is prayer, brothers. I'm going to say it again because I really want this to digest, because I know where your mind went. The highest order of being is prayer. And this is where the disconnect begins to happen. Because when I say the highest order of being is prayer, instantly the far majority of you say, oh, okay, the highest order of being is going to the church altar. The highest order of being is sitting in my corner at home and speaking to God and da da da. See, that's where the disconnect is, because that's not prayer. We've been tricked. I'll use that word. We've been tricked to take the highest order of being and actually confuse it with a ritual. We've taken the highest order of being, which is prayer, and confused it with the ritual of affirmations. It's healthy. It's healthy to do affirmations, to wake up in the morning or to go to church and say a certain thing, to be fellowshipping with your brothers and claim a certain thing. But you got to understand that these are rituals. And now people think that affirmations, which we're calling prayer, we think that's the highest form of being. We think we're going before source energy. We think that by going before source energy and begging for a thing and pleading for things is the highest order of being. It's actually prayer, and it's not, bro. It's not. What do you mean? So prayer is the highest order of being. You gotta understand, man, and I don't want to get too deep into y'all. A lot of y'all have read the Kabbalion and other books on that nature, but you have to understand that you gotta understand this. To say that we're made in the image of source, like, what does it mean? Like, what does that really mean to be made in the image of source energy, God, and to actually move in that energy? Because it's easy to understand, okay, we were made in the image of God, right? But how does one move like God? You have to understand that source energy is the only thing in existence that doesn't have two poles, that doesn't have a right and a left, that doesn't have an up and a down, that doesn't have it doesn't have two poles. It's zero frequency. It's constant energy. It's no movement. It just is. If that makes sense. It's the only thing in existence that doesn't have a pole to create it. You know what I'm saying? So to walk in the image of source is to walk in zero frequency. It is to walk in a state where nothing else exists. Prayer. You know what I'm saying? So when we claim a thing to be, to walk in that state with no other options. And I've talked about this a number of times. I've talked about this in A Singular Truth. What bringing those two poles together is where God lives. We can say this a million different ways and find a million different texts in a million different books. But the ultimate goal is to walk in one state to the point where no other state exists, which is the highest form of being, which is prayer. And I'm telling you, brothers, like once we get past the rituals and start walking in this zero frequency, you're gonna understand that there's not a lot of need for daily rituals. There was a point in time, man, where every single morning, I would get up, I would make me some coffee. I would sit in this chair right here. I might listen to music for a few minutes to get in this frequency. Then I would just meditate, man. Sometimes it might be for 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes it might be for 30 or an hour, right? That was healthy, but I understood that it was keeping me. It was keeping me from, for example, you can only meditate for so long. Like once that state is created, the ultimate goal of meditation is to get in a state. It's easy to sit in a chair and close your eyes and find a state of being. But the ultimate goal of meditation is to be able to go into that state and open your eyes and still feel it and still be in that state. Because you got to understand, when you first start meditating, you're living between two poles. You're in this world that you're trying to change. You're closing your eyes, whatever you're doing, whatever your practice is. You're going into this state of you're going into your heaven. You're going into that ultimate bliss state. But then when you open your eyes, you're back here. And it's like, okay, so now you're talking about two different poles. You're talking about the swinging of the pendulum. So you can't walk in a state of God with two different poles. But once a man sits in that chair for a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, a few months, And he gets to the point where it's like, you know what? This world that I'm living in my mind, in my meditation, like when I open my eyes, I feel that same frequency now. Like it matches. See, for the longest time, I didn't understand why. I said, you know what? Why is it that I'm meditating and after so many days or weeks or whatever it is, I kind of lose interest in meditating and try to create this thing. What I didn't understand is the reason I lost interest was because I became that already. Like I had become it, meaning my states, my heaven and my earth were on one frequency now. I was moving in one order. I was walking in that Godship, if you will. So that's the highest order. Now the thing is this: when I talk about the maintenance, meaning when you walking in this order and you walking in that frequency of the new you, man, sometimes there are going to be some things that try to snatch you out of that. They try to snatch you out of that. Meaning for me, man, if I go to like a concert or if I go to, for consecutive days, I'm going to where a lot of people are, that might have the possibility of kind of bringing me out of that, my prayer. Right. So I might wake up a few mornings, man, and sit in my chair and get back in that state. It's maintenance. It's maintenance. But the highest order of being, brother, is waking up every day. No, not even waking up every day. The highest order of being is going into that state and never coming out. Meaning even when I'm awake 24 hours a day, even when I'm awake and both sleep, I'm still in this energy of a thing is. A thing is. So I'm telling you, brothers, at some point you have to ditch the rituals. Now, I didn't say abandon. But you have to ditch the rituals. A man can get caught up in having to get up and do certain things instead of just getting up and walking in that I am, or getting up and doing the work of being that person. You know what I'm saying? Like to get up every day and walk in that constant energy of this new version of you. There is nothing higher than that. Like the work. The work is the goal. The work is the blessing. The work is the fulfillment. That's why it says when it says faith without works is dead. That's literally faith and hope and all these things without the work is nothing. Faith without the work is nothing. But the work alone is when a man is walking with source. I'm gonna say it again. Faith without the work is nothing. It's dead. But the work alone is the highest form of order. The work alone is the highest form of worship. It's the highest form of gratitude to source. We can go and stand on the altar. We can go and crip walk on pews all we want to. Speak in tongue and do all these things. But the work is the highest form of saying, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for blessing me with health. Thank you for blessing me with all these things. It's not the word, it's the action. It's the action. It's just crazy because we've always looked at prayer instead of understanding it's the highest form of being. We've always looked at prayer as, our request to summon God into our lives, or our request to thank God and all this stuff. Prayer is the act of being God. Whoa, I know y'all. What'd he say? Prayer is the act of saying, you know what? Oh, I understand. Thank you for making me in your image. Now let me walk in that. See, when I say things like that, it's not blasphemy. When I say things like we have to stop thinking of a God and start thinking as gods, that's not blasphemy. That's actually showing gratitude. That's showing gratitude. You think I want my son to act like a teenager for the rest of his life? No, at some point, I want you to start applying these things I'm teaching you. At some point, I want my son to walk in the image like I am, like he was born to be. And the day he wakes up and he starts to act like a man, I'm not going to say that's blasphemy. I'm gonna say, now, son, you walking in the image. Now you're walking like a man. So if we're walking in the image of God, at what point do we walk? Do we walk like a God? Do we think like a God? Do we be gods? And the only way we can do that, man, is to go into a state where there are no other alternatives. There is no area for a pendulum to swing. It's only one frequency. It's actually no frequency, zero frequency, the state of God, constant energy. So all I'm saying is, brothers, we have to ditch the rituals at some point. And again, I talked about beads and meditation and all these things. Well, for a lot of y'all brothers, your ritual is YouTube. Your ritual is to get up and to tap into a frequency of, this is what I want to achieve. This is how I want to be. I want to live like these brothers. I want to be able to buy these things. And you're consumed with YouTube. You're consumed with social media. A lot of y'all, man, your rituals are books. You done read every book in the universe 10 times over. You can quote the Neville Goddards. You can quote the Napoleons. You can quote the Bobby Hemmitts. You can quote the W.E.B. Du Bois. But it's like, at what point in time are you going to come out of that state of meditation, those rituals, and put the work in? It's all about doing the work, brothers. It's simply all about doing the work.